Hi there and welcome back to Mind-Body Relationship, where we talk about the mind, the body, and the relationship. Hi, my name is Emerald Hill and this is Dr. Laurie Ponsford Hill. How are you doing today, Laurie?
I'm doing really good.
Good.
Hey, Emerald. So, what?
Nothing. Keep going.
Today we're going to be talking about a book that I read. It's actually really quite popular. It's written by Gabor Mate, and he's actually really a doctor, a medical doctor.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he wrote a book called When the Body Says No, The Cost of Hidden Stress. And I thought maybe we might talk about that today because we, generally speaking, are highly stressed all of the time.
Right.
Right? And so what happens when it is that we become overly stressed, our tipping point, we get to a tipping point and then we go over the other side,
Right.
is that it actually really can cause illness.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had a time when it is that your body has said no?
Every time I go back to school. I just remember that every time something stressful came up, like going back to school, the first day of school, first week of school, catch a cold, because everyone's disgusting, but also because it's highly stressful. Or every time an exam comes up and I'm stressing, I notice that every time after my exam, I come down with something horrid.
Oh, so true,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you can hold it together for a period of time, but then when it is you get to that tipping point, it's about letting it all go.
Yeah.
Right? And then the crash comes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I found that too. When it is that you're studying, you're preparing for an exam, it is highly stressful. You get the exam done, and then comes the crash.
Well, what's interesting as well is like emotional reactions. When things emotionally are just so stressful. You ever have one of those nights where you're just so stressed, you just go into your room and cry for a little bit?
Aww.
Well, I think that everybody does that. I think it's pretty common. I don't do it frequently.
Well, yeah. I mean, our bodies talk to us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even when it is that you overdo anything, you overdo stretching, right? And then, there's a part of your body that's speaking to you.
I remember like a month ago, you stretched a little bit. I was teaching you to stretch a little bit. The next day, your ankle was like done.
Yes, exactly. It was speaking to me. It was like, do not do that again. So true. Or when it is that there's a really intense situation and you have to sort of manage your own emotion internally,
Yeah.
and then afterwards get like gut pain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Heartburn.
Or heartburn, right?
Yeah.
It tells you something happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that your body is reacting to those stress hormones and, in essence, to start to, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Some people's stress hormones come out a lot more noticeably because people sweat.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know how many times, I don't know. There was this one guy in my class, and every time he would get called on, he would present himself so calm and coolly, but his body was reacting, and he just started pouring with sweat.
Oh, yes. Or how people get flushed.
Oh, so flushed.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you can see that your body is responding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as much as it is that we don't actually really want to recognize it. But the truth is that if we don't listen to it, it can turn into something much, much bigger and
Right.
much worse. And as it is that this author was talking about that, I mean, he was looking at it in regards to big diseases like cancer, like autoimmune disease, right? ALS, like big stuff, rheumatoid arthritis, right? That he was looking at all of his patients and trying to come up with similarities in regards to their personalities and what were the common factors.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, from my interpretation, it was really to do with not knowing your boundaries.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like paying attention to yourself when it is that it's too much, when it is that you're actually really needing to say no, but you keep saying yes because you're wanting to make other people happy, right? Or even when you think about it, when people say think positively, right? It's not necessarily about thinking positively, meaning that you're not paying attention to all of the negative factors, but really it's about being real. Right? Paying attention to the negative factors as well as the positive factors, or what could be the positive outcome, but not skipping over the fact that there are detriments or struggles or frustrations, or even the fact that maybe whatever it is that you're doing is not meant for you.
Yeah, you can apply that really easily to school. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many times I was trying to work on homework and I would just start to cry, especially in math. You know what I mean? Because you have 2 hours of homework for every class that you take, and then when you don't get one, it suddenly turns into 4 hours of homework. And so you're sitting there trying to work on this thing with your dad, who's a veterinarian, who should know how to do the equation, but he doesn't, and he is not good at teaching. And then it's just like, well, I am done.
It's so true, right? There's the math the way it used to be done, and then there's the math, there was a transition, and then there's this new math.
Apparently there's like 3 different ways to do math.
Well, there you go, right? And it's overwhelming. And that's the thing, right? You overwhelm your system.
For sure.
And if there's no way to really grab a hold of it, right, so that you can actually really achieve the balance, then it's easy to overwhelm the system. It's easy to actually really make yourself sick.
Oh, for sure. Like, you know, you have to weigh what's most important. Like, is it most important for me to go to bed right now and recuperate from this? Or is it more important for me to do this assignment even though it really doesn't affect my mark? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and everybody comes up with a different conclusion.
Yeah.
And I think that it is really important to actually really add in health. Physical health, mental health, psychological health, right? Really important to add that in. And I think what happens is we have a tendency just to skip over that.
Oh, for sure.
Right? It's about whatever that task might be, and we take ourselves out of the equation as opposed to incorporating ourselves and how it is that we're feeling and how full, you know, our basket is and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I noticed a lot when I was trying to lose weight, was when, like, life would come in, as it always does, and then you get so stressed, and the first thing that go is, like, your self-respect, or your holding yourself accountable. It's gone. You just go home, and you're like, well, I had a really hard day. I sat for most of it, and it was just mentally stressful, but now my body deserves sugar, which is just going to make me even more sick for the next day.
Yeah, it's funny how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, just to try and make yourself feel better, right? Self-soothing, right? And soothe the stress out of your body.
For sure, yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, you know what? When this author, what he came up with was the 7 A's of healing.
Right.
Right? So the first is acceptance. Right? And I think that that's a really important one. To accept the scenario, to accept the limitations, to accept the frustrations. I think what happens is that people start saying, well, it should be different than it is. Or you should be able to get it. Yeah. Or this should be easier. Or whatever it is that might be. The truth is, it's not about any of those things. It's really about accepting it, accepting people's limitations, right? Accepting the time constraints, accepting whatever it is that might be about. And then here's the key, right? Perhaps it means you do have to go in a different direction. Right? Perhaps it's not about going in the straight line, but actually really going around something in order to achieve the goal you want to achieve.
Right.
Next one is awareness, right? And that's really about also too paying attention to yourself, being aware, right? Aware of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Right? Aware of the particulars and how much effort and energy it's going to take in order to be able to achieve what it is that you're looking at, so that you're being real about it.
Yeah.
The next one is anger. Yeah, and this is a real interesting one, right? Because I say about frustration. Frustration is on the anger spectrum.
Right.
And life is frustrating. There are so many frustrations.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. And again, it's about being real with it, not shoving the anger down, right? Not being afraid of the anger, right? Not feeling like you shouldn't be feeling the anger, but just to be able to acknowledge the fact that there is a level of anger and that it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? And it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to express it, right? And it's also too important to be able to know what to do with it.
Right.
That's the key.
Yeah. I think it's really important, especially to learn how to say, you know what, I'm feeling pretty angry right now. Maybe I'm going to go for a walk, or maybe these things need to happen so that I don't get more angry, instead of allowing it to accumulate and then bursting into anger at somebody who may or may not deserve it.
Oh, exactly, right? Next is autonomy. And autonomy, I think, is really important, right? Because we do have to have a sense that we are in charge of ourselves.
Right.
Right? If we feel that we're always somebody's victim or some system's victim, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is that might be, we don't have choice.
Right.
Right? We don't have options. We're cornered. Then we become like wild animals, kind of like lashing out at everyone and everything.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So it is really important to have a sense of autonomy, right? I do have choice. I do have options. I can actually make the decision to leave this aside for now.
Right.
Right?
I think that's most important for teenagers. They're trying to come into their own. They're trying to be their own person. And they're struggling, especially in high school, with the high school system, and then with their parents, with the parent system. And it's just, maybe they even have to do a job. So now that they're high school and then job and then parents, and it's just a lot,
It is a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And speaking of which, that brings us to attachment.
Ah.
Yes. Relationship is so important, right? Having good, secure, helpful, supportive relationships is really important.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When the relationships are out of whack, right? They're not balanced. Everybody else is wanting what it is that they're wanting, and to heck with you. Right? That's a horrible place to be.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So having a support system, resources, right? So that you can actually really reach out to somebody, discuss something, right? Work through issues, determine a path. I mean, that's really important stuff.
Right.
Next is assertion, which really is what it is that we're also talking about, right? Being able to assert yourself, meaning, when it is that you don't believe in something, to be able to actually really say so.
Right.
Right?
You know what a really great trick is? When you notice yourself saying no, when someone asks you something, you say, no? See how it's a question mark? It's really important to start being able to say it, no. Because as soon as there's a question mark, there's a maybe. But as soon as it's a no, period, there's a period.
Well, there you go. Well, and it is true, right? Having the self-control, right, and the self-esteem, in order to be able to know yourself, right, and in order to be able to say exactly what it is that you are feeling, thinking, experiencing, right, so that others are understanding you.
Right.
Right? And a lot of the times people do not say no because they're trying so desperately hard to avoid conflict.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is that life is about conflict.
It really is.
Yes. And there's a level of frustration, really, bottom lining it, when you think about that. And so it is really important to be able to assert yourself. Not that it's about overpowering others, right? It's really just about being able to identify your stuff, yourself, right? Where you are in this equation.
Right.
And standing firm in that. Which brings us to affirmation.
Right.
Because we do actually really need to be able to say good things about ourselves.
We really do.
Yeah. And if you're constantly in a place where you're actually really saying negative things about yourself all the time, I should have been able to do that, I should have been able to get that, I didn't do this, I feel bad, you're beating yourself up. I mean, all that is added stress.
Oh, for sure.
Creating more anger, stuff that needs to be pushed down, causing illness.
Yeah.
Right? So as long as it is that you can actually really stand firm in who it is that you are and affirm who it is that you are, right? You're about something. You're important. You're significant, right? What you have to say matters.
Yeah.
How it is that you're feeling about things matter.
Right. I think a really great thing to keep in mind is that story where it goes, everyone has two internal wolves. One is light or dark or positivity or negativity. And the one that wins is the one you feed. And so I think there was somebody who messaged me the other day asking for weight loss help. And she was like, I hate my body. I hate everything about it. I can't stand looking at myself. And I told her that. And I was like, well, if the perfect body that you want was feeling like you, what would you say to yourself? And so it's about recognizing that it's not about, crapping on yourself and beating yourself until you are the person that you want to be. It's about treating yourself as the person who you want to be.
Exactly. And not going so far the other way in regards to positive thinking that you're not paying attention to it anymore. Right? So, it's so interesting, right? There's going too far this way where everything is negative and everything sucks, to too far this way, which everything is okay no matter what it is that's happening.
Sunshine and daisies.
Exactly, right? Which is overlooking all of the reality of the truth of the matter is, it's both and, right? And so dealing with what it is that's actually really happening and you need to be dealing with, not ignoring the fact that you're actually really making yourself sick.
Right.
Yes. Well, and as much as it is that this author has come up with the 7 A's, bottom lining it, I really think it's about the B. And the B is good boundaries.
Right.
Having good boundaries with all of these A's.
Right.
Right? So that you are actually really balanced and having a means to determine, well, when is it that I am balanced? I'm taking care of myself. It's not about being over here. It's not about being over here, right? But with every single thing that I am actually really where it is that I want to be, taking care of myself, paying attention to my own stress level, right? With whatever the circumstances are. Yeah. And in essence, just being okay in that moment.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I do think it's important, right, to pay attention to your body, because your body is the guide in regards to whether or not you are keeping good boundaries.
Right.
Right? And so if your body is speaking to you, it's really important to listen.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Laurie, for talking to me about the 7 A's and the big B. And thank you so much for tuning in. If you have a story about how you were overstressed and your body reacted, comment down below. We would love to read about it, or send us an email at our website, which is included in the box below. And give this video a like, subscribe, and stay subscribed, and we'll see you later.
All right, and bye for now.
Bye.